The world we inhabit is a relentless engine of noise. From the moment we open our eyes to the blue light of a smartphone screen, to the final ticking of a clock before we drift into slumber, we are bombarded by demands, expectations, and the digital echoes of a billion other lives. In this constant stream of information, it is easy to lose the most vital connection of all, the connection to the present moment and the divine presence that dwells within it. We often mistake movement for progress and noise for importance. Yet the deepest truths of our existence are rarely shouted. They are whispered in the spaces between our thoughts, in the quiet gravity of a held breath, and in the profound stillness that remains when the world finally stops asking something of us. Authentic presence starts with the recognition that you are not a machine built for constant output. You are a soul designed for relationship, reflection, and rest. When we talk about the silence, we are not just talking about the absence of sound. We are talking about a state of internal alignment where the ego steps aside and the spirit begins to breathe. Many of us fear this silence because it acts as a mirror. Without the distraction of tasks or the numbing effect of media, we are forced to face our anxieties, our regrets, and the raw honesty of our hearts. But it is precisely in this vulnerability that the most significant transformation occurs. You cannot heal what you refuse to feel, and you cannot hear the guidance meant for you if you are constantly outrunning the quiet. Think of the silence as a sanctuary rather than a void. It is a sacred space where grace is allowed to speak without interruption. In the script of our lives, we often play the role of the frantic director trying to control every scene and manage every character. But when we enter the silence of the night, we hand over the script. We acknowledge that there is a higher intelligence, a loving Father who has seen every step we took during the day. He saw the moments where we stumbled, the times we bit our tongues in kindness, and the instances where we felt utterly alone, even in a crowded room. The beauty of this divine presence is that it is not annoyed by our silence. It does not demand an eloquent report of our achievements. It simply cherishes our presence as we cherish its peace. Living with this awareness changes the way we perceive our daily struggles. When you know you are held by a presence that never slumbers, the chaos and the calm of life start to look different. The chaos loses its power to overwhelm you because you have an internal anchor. The calm becomes more than just a lucky break. It becomes a deliberate opportunity for gratitude. We often walk past 1,000 blessings in search of one big miracle, but the real miracle is the breath in your lungs and the strength that carries you through things you didn't think you could face. This strength is not a loud, boisterous force. It is the quiet, steady pulse of resilience that whispers, "Keep going," when the world says, "Give up." To practice this presence is to become fluent in the language of the soul. It requires a daily surrender of the need to be enough by the world's standards. Society measures us by our productivity, our bank accounts, and our social standing. However, the presence in the silence measures us by our willingness to be honest. It asks for our hearts, not our resumes. When we stop striving and start surrendering, we realize that we don't have to perform for peace. Peace is not a reward for a job well done. It is a gift available to anyone who is willing to be still long enough to receive it. It is a peace that sinks deep and holds firm, acting as a blanket stitched with every moment you were carried through the day. As the sun sets and the stars take their places, let the weight of today settle into the hands of the one who holds tomorrow. Do not rehearse your anxieties or plan your failures. Instead, remember the mercy that was new this morning and the grace that covered what could have condemned you. The darkness does not own the night. The Lord of Light does. By choosing to dwell in this truth, you turn your bedroom into a sanctuary and your bed into an altar of praise. Every breath becomes a confession of being loved, held, and covered. This is the ultimate motivation, knowing that you are never forgotten, never abandoned, and always beloved. Now is the time to reclaim your inner peace. Tonight, before you close your eyes, dedicate 5 minutes to absolute silence. Put away your phone, dim the lights, and simply breathe. Do not ask for anything. Do not complain about anything. Just say thank you for being here. Experience the shift in the atmosphere as your gratitude rises like incense. If this message resonated with you, share it with someone who is struggling to find their calm today. Let us build a community of presence where we support one another, not just in our doing, but in our being. Comment below with one small thing you are grateful for today, and let that be the last thought you breathe before you sleep. Rise tomorrow, not with dread, but with the joyful expectation that the same grace that carried you through today is already waiting for you at sunrise. True strength is often found not in the ability to hold on, but in the courage to let go. We spend our days in a state of constant striving, fueled by the invisible pressure to be more, do more, and have more. This relentless pursuit creates a friction within the soul, a weariness that follows us into the shadows of the evening. We carry the weight of our expectations like a heavy cloak, wondering if our efforts were sufficient or if we ourselves are enough to meet the demands of our lives. Yet, the second stage of our spiritual journey begins when we realize that our own striving is a finite resource. Surrender is not a sign of defeat. It is the ultimate act of trust. It is the moment we stop trying to manufacture our own peace and start receiving the sufficiency of a higher power. The concept of surrender is often misunderstood in a culture that prizes self-reliance and grit. We are taught that to surrender is to give up, to lose ground, or to admit weakness. However, in the realm of the spirit, surrender is a strategic realignment. It is the recognition that while we are responsible for our actions, we are not in control of the outcomes. When we come to the end of a long day bruised by the world or exhausted by the demands of our roles, we have a choice. We can continue to rehearse our failures and worry about the gaps in our performance, or we can step into the posture of surrender. This posture is one of open hands and a quiet heart. It is the act of saying, "Father, I have done what I could, and now I leave the rest to you." Surrender allows us to experience the profound truth that we do not have to be everything to everyone. We often live as though the world rests on our shoulders, but the silence of the night reminds us that the universe continues to expand, the stars continue to shine, and the earth continues to rotate without our permission, participation. There is a deep restorative joy in acknowledging our own smallness in the face of a vast and loving Creator. When we surrender our need for control, we make room for grace to enter. We discover that when we are at our weakest, there is a strength that is made perfect in that very weakness. This is the sufficiency that sustains us when our own energy has run dry. Sufficiency is the quiet assurance that you have everything you need for the journey right now. It is the antidote to the hunger for more that drives so much of our anxiety. We often think we need better circumstances, more resources, or different personalities to be happy. But surrender teaches us to look at our lives through the lens of gratitude. It invites us to say, "Thank you for being enough for me." This is not a statement of resignation, but a declaration of abundance. It is the realization that the presence of the divine is more than what we thought we needed. It is a presence that meets the visible needs we can name and the invisible aches we cannot even articulate. Think of the moments during your day when you felt inadequate. Perhaps you lacked the right words in a difficult conversation, or you felt overwhelmed by a task that seemed beyond your skill set. In those moments of perceived lack, the promise of sufficiency was already at work. We often forget that we are not meant to carry the full burden of our lives alone. We are invited to be upheld by a righteous hand that is stronger than our own. Surrender means trusting that even when we feel we have fallen short, we are still held in a state of favor. It is the freedom to be imperfect, because we are loved by a God who does not require perfection, only our presence and our honesty. This process of surrender is also a process of healing. The world can be a bruising place. We carry the scars of criticism, the weight of disappointment, and the sting of rejection. If we do not surrender these burdens, at the end of the day, they begin to define us. They turn into bitterness or a sense of unworthiness that clouds our vision. But when we surrender, we allow those bruises to be touched by mercy. We stop trying to fix ourselves and let ourselves be mended by a love that sees our flaws and calls us beloved anyway. We trade our striving for a sacred space where grace can speak. In this space, the ache of what we think is missing is slowly transformed into the awe of what is already present. As you move deeper into the stillness, consider the miracle of provision. We often worry about the future, projecting our fears onto a screen that hasn't been built yet. But sufficiency is a present tense reality. It is the miracle of the bread and the breath that carried you from morning to night. It is the unnoticed miracles planted in small laughter, in the stillness between moments, and in the strength to face things you didn't think you could. When you surrender your worry, you begin to notice these divine interruptions. You realize that even when you thought you lacked, you were being quietly provided for. You were never walking alone, even in the moments when you felt most abandoned. The path of surrender leads us to a place of deep rest. It is a rest that goes beyond the physical act of sleep. It is a soul rest that comes from knowing that the work is finished, that you are accepted, and that you are safe. This is the peace that Jesus spoke of, a peace that the world cannot give and therefore cannot take away. It is a peace that whispers louder than the noise of your insecurities. It is a peace that tucks you in with the truth of your identity. You are not your productivity. You are not your mistakes. You are a child of the Most High, and that is always enough. Tonight, practice the art of the intentional exhale. As you prepare for sleep, physically open your hands and imagine every worry, every task left undone, and every feeling of inadequacy leaving your grip. Say out loud or in your heart, I surrender this day to you. I trust that your grace is sufficient for me. Refuse to carry the weight of tomorrow into the rest of tonight. Instead, fill that empty space in your heart with a single word, enough. Let it resonate through your body until your muscles relax and your mind grows quiet. If you have been striving too hard lately, give yourself permission to stop. Share this message with a friend who feels like they are failing and remind them that they are held by a love that never lets go. Tomorrow, wake up not with a to-do list, but with a thank you list. Walk into the new day knowing that you don't have to be perfect because the one who leads you already is. There is a profound shift that occurs when we move from the general acknowledgement of a higher power to the intimate realization that this power knows our name, our history, and the very rhythm of our breathing. As we enter this third stage of our journey, we move beyond the broad concepts of presence and surrender into the deeply personal territory of divine remembrance. It is one thing to believe that a creator cares for the world, but it is an entirely different experience to realize that he has never forgotten you. Not for a single second. Every flaw you carried today, every failure you feared would define you, and every silent thought you hoped would go unnoticed was seen through eyes of infinite compassion. This is the stage where we stop looking at the stars and start looking at the nail-scarred hands that hold our specific individual lives. Personalization is the heart of true spiritual motivation. We often feel like just another face in the crowd, another worker in the economy, or another user in a digital sea. But in the silence of this night, the divine whispers a different story. You are not a statistic. You are beloved. Think back on the hours that have passed since the sun rose this morning. Perhaps there was a moment of deep frustration where you felt your patience slipping, or a moment of quiet doubt where you questioned your purpose. In those exact seconds, you were not alone. There was a mercy covering you that you did not even have to ask for. This is the inexhaustible grace that flows like a gentle river reaching into the hidden corners of your day, covering the words you regret and the thoughts that made you feel unworthy. When we look back at our day, we often see a series of tasks, meetings, and obligations. But if we look closer through the lens of faith, we see a record of faithfulness. We see the gentle breeze that cooled our skin when we were stressed. We see the laugh that came from a colleague when we least expected it. We see the message from a friend we hadn't heard from in weeks arriving at the precise moment we felt a sting of loneliness. These are not random coincidences. These are reminders. They are the divine saying, I see you, I care, I delight in giving to you. We often overlook these small joys in search of something bigger, something more dramatic, but the real miracles are often the ones that come wrapped in the simple, the mundane, and the everyday. Your life is a unique script, and the divine is the steady beat behind every anxious moment and the whisper of assurance behind every question. This personalization means that the strength you receive is tailored for your specific burden. If you are a creator struggling to find the right words or the right vision, that inspiration is being prepared for you. If you are a parent weary from the constant demands of care, that patience is being distilled for your soul. If you are a student overwhelmed by the mountain of knowledge before you, that clarity is being offered to you. We do not all receive the same grace because we do not all carry the same load. The Father gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak, and He does so with a loving eye fixed specifically on you. Consider the times you felt you had nothing left to offer. Perhaps it was during a difficult conversation where you ran out of eloquence, or a project where your creativity felt completely drained. It was in that emptiness that you were sustained by a quiet might that was not your own. You didn't push through by your own power. You were carried. This is the beauty of a personalized relationship with the divine. Ingi Kanyi, Heis Hon, Heochi, Cn, S, Hi, Ndn, Cabn, Ingyi, Kung Uc, Ush Bn, Bn, Chcn, S Trung Thc. When you are honest about your weakness, you open the door for His strength to become your reality. You realize that you are not resting in your own righteousness or your own capability, but in His. Tonight, as the hush falls over your world, take a moment to celebrate the joy that felt like it was made just for you. Maybe it was the scent of warm food after a long day, or the softness of your bed that felt like a sanctuary. Each of these moments was a gift from above, coming down from the Father of heavenly lights. How many times today did you miss His presence in the present? And yet He gave endlessly and faithfully. He gave when you didn't notice, when you didn't ask, and even when you didn't say thank you. But here you are now, finally noticing, finally saying thank you. This is the beginning of becoming someone who doesn't need fireworks to praise, but someone who can worship in the whisper. This personalized grace also means that your future is secure. We often dread tomorrow because we imagine facing it with today's limited strength. But mercy is new every morning. The grace you need for tomorrow is already in motion, scheduled to meet you at sunrise. You don't have to have all the answers tonight. You don't have to have a perfect plan. You simply need to trust the pillow beneath your head and the promise that the one who made you will carry you. You are held in a covenant of love that cannot be broken by your moods or your failures. This night is under His control, and your life is hidden in a peace that sinks deep and holds firm. Tonight I want you to do something deeply personal. Before you drift off, look back through the reel of your day and find 3 specific small moments where you felt a spark of joy, a sense of relief, or a sudden bit of help. Do not pick the big things. Pick the tiny ones, the way the light hit a leaf, a stranger's smile, or the fact that you finally finished a difficult email. Write them down or whisper them into the darkness. Acknowledge them as direct gifts from a Father who is thinking about you. This is how you become fluent in thanksgiving. This is how you train your eyes to see the sacred in the simple. If you found comfort in these words, share one of your 3 moments in the comments below to inspire someone else. Let us fill the digital world with the fragrance of specific, personalized gratitude. Tomorrow, wake up and ask, Lord, help me to notice you in the moment. Then, walk out with the joyful expectation that you are the most beloved person in the room because you are walking with the one who never forgets you. Sleep in favor, wake in praise, live in love. As we transition into the 4th stage of our spiritual awakening, we move from the internal record of grace into the external reality of our environment. It is time to speak peace over the very space you inhabit. Peace is not merely a feeling that happens to us. It is an atmosphere we cultivate through our words and our trust. In the final hours of the day, your room should cease to be just a place of wood, glass, and fabric. It must become a sanctuary of praise. This is the moment where we stop being victims of the day's pressures and start becoming the architects of our own rest. We do this by recognizing that the darkness of the night is not a void to be feared, but a canvas where the Lord of Light paints his most comforting promises. The architecture of peace begins with the intentional shifting of your focus. Throughout the day, our minds act like sponges, soaking up the anxieties of the workplace, the friction of traffic, the noise of the news, and the digital weight of social media. If we carry these into our sleep, our rest will be shallow and our dreams will be cluttered. To build a sanctuary, you must first clear the site. This requires a deliberate release of everything that does not belong in your rest. Visualize yourself stripping away the labels the world tried to pin on you today. You are not your deadlines, you are not your bank balance, and you are not the mistakes you made. You are a spirit hidden in a peace that whispers louder than the world's noise. Divine protection is the cornerstone of this sanctuary. There is a deep, primal security in knowing that you are never truly alone in the dark. As the stars take their places, imagine the atmosphere in your room shifting, fear out, faith in, questions out, confidence in. We often rehearse our anxieties as if we are the ones who must solve them before morning. But the truth is that the one who watches over you never slumbers. If he is awake, then you can finally close your eyes. If he is at work, you can stop striving. This is the ultimate luxury of the soul, to be able to sleep while the creator of the universe manages the complexities of your tomorrow. This protection is not just spiritual, it is personal and practical. Think about the physical comfort of the roof over your head and the softness of the bed beneath you. These are not random luxuries. They are visible expressions of provision. There are people in this weary world who only dream of the safety you possess in this moment. By acknowledging this, you bless the very space you are in. You declare that your home is a place where grace is the air you breathe. When you bless your space with thanksgiving, you create a barrier that fear cannot trespass. You are sealing your rest in love, ensuring that your soul can exhale completely. In this sanctuary, even your breathing becomes a form of worship. Each slow, deep breath is a confession of trust. Inhale grace, exhale guilt. Inhale mercy, exhale measurement. You are not being measured by your righteousness tonight, but by the righteousness of the one who has already overcome the world. This is the peace that Jesus promised, a peace that sinks deep and holds firm. It is a peace that does not depend on perfect circumstances, but on the simple awareness that the Father is near. When you realize that your life is hidden in Christ, the shadows of the evening lose their teeth. The night becomes a lullaby of thanks rather than a theater of worry. As we look toward the horizon of tomorrow, we do so with joyful expectation, not dread. We often fear the future because we forget the past record of faithfulness. But the same hand that carried you through the chaos and the calm of today is already working in the hours you haven't yet reached. Hope is already in motion. Mercy is already scheduled. The morning will bring with it a fresh supply of strength, tailored specifically for whatever challenges lie ahead. You don't need to have all the answers tonight because the one who holds tomorrow has already prepared your next step. You can rest in the shadow of his wings, knowing that nothing can reach you unless it passes through his love first. Building this architecture of peace also involves the dreams you carry. As your mind slows down, invite the divine to write across the night sky of your subconscious. Ask for dreams that whisper comfort and call hope forward. Let your final thoughts be of the goodness you witnessed today, the small triumphs, the quiet wisdom, the moments where you chose kindness over frustration. These are the bricks of your sanctuary. When you fall asleep in a state of worship, you wake up in a state of praise. You transition from a survivor of the day into a conqueror of the night, resting in the absolute assurance that you are held, you are blessed, and you are loved. This is the holy stillness we seek. It is a kind of rest that the world cannot provide with its distractions and conditions. It is a sacred calm that flows from a covenant. You were made by a Father who sustains you, carries you, and rescues you. This is the promise of Isaiah 4:6-4, stretching from your youth even to your gray hairs. You are part of a lineage of faithfulness that has continued through all generations. Tonight, you are simply the latest recipient of that eternal care. Lie down as a child whose father never fails, and let the fragrance of Thanksgiving fill your room until the ache of the day turns into the awe of the night. Tonight, I challenge you to perform a physical act of sanctuary building. Before you lie down, stand in the center of your room and take 3 deep breaths. With each breath, say out loud, "This space is filled with peace. This night is under His control. I am safe." Do not let your mind drift to the what-ifs of tomorrow. Instead, focus on the He is of right now. He is here. He is faithful. He is enough. If you feel a lingering weight, physically brush your hands together as if wiping off dust, symbolizing the release of the day's burdens. Then, as you lay your head on the pillow, let thank you be the rhythm of your heart until you drift off. Share this practice with one person you know is currently going through a storm. Remind them that their room can also be a sanctuary no matter what is happening outside the door. Tomorrow, let your first conscious thought be a declaration of victory. I am ready because I was rested in love. As we reach the 5th stage of our journey, we must turn our gaze from the sanctuary of the night toward the golden promise of the sunrise. While rest is a holy necessity, it is also a preparation for a specific divine mission. Every night of deep, surrendered sleep is the fuel for a day of purposeful action. We do not just sleep to forget the past. We sleep to be empowered for the future. The same voice that quieted the storms of your soul tonight is the same voice that will call your name in the morning, inviting you to walk into a world that needs your unique light. This is the moment where we realize that the peace we have cultivated in the darkness is meant to be a lighthouse for others in the day. The transition from rest to action is built on the foundation of joyful expectation. We often wake up with a sense of dread, our minds immediately racing toward the to-do list, the emails, and the potential conflicts. But what if we shifted our perspective? What if we understood that every morning is a scheduled miracle? Your word declares that rejoicing comes in the morning, and this is not just a poetic sentiment. It is a spiritual law. Mercy is not a stagnant pool. It is a flowing river that resets every 24 hours. This means that no matter how heavy today felt, tomorrow carries no residual debt. You are stepping into a clean slate, a fresh opportunity to be a creator, a healer, and a light bearer. Purpose is the ultimate motivator. When you understand that your life is not a series of random events, but a carefully crafted narrative, your energy changes. The tasks that felt like burdens today, the content creation, the media projects, the calls to action, they are actually vehicles for your influence. You are not just assembling words or editing videos. You are building bridges of connection. When you include those multi-language components, specifically the beauty of Portuguese, you are expanding your territory to reach souls you have never met. You are speaking a language of inclusion and grace. This is the sacred in the simple. Every script you write and every video you produce is a seed planted in a field you might never see. But the harvest is guaranteed by the one who gives the increase. Divine preparation is the silent work happening while you sleep. We often worry about whether we have enough wisdom for the decisions ahead, but the promise is clear. Ngi, SCHDNVDYBOBN, Con NGPHII. This guidance is already being distilled into your spirit as you rest. You do not have to walk into tomorrow wondering if you are doing enough or if you have missed the mark. Walking with the divine is about direction, not perfection. If your heart is oriented toward the light, every step you take, even the ones that feel like stumbles, is being used to move you forward. You are being nudged by a gentle shepherd who knows the terrain better than you do. He has already closed the doors that would have harmed you and opened the ones that will lead to your growth. As you prepare to rise, consider the power of being awake to wonder. The world is a weary place filled with people who have forgotten how to see the miracle in the mundane. But you have been trained in the silence. You have learned to worship in the whisper. This means you have a competitive advantage in the realm of the spirit. You know how to find joy where others find only frustration. When you walk into a room tomorrow, you carry the atmosphere of the sanctuary you built tonight. Your presence becomes a calming force. Your words, seasoned with the grace you received in the dark, become a source of life for those who are still striving. You are not just surviving the day. You are occupying it with authority. This authority comes from knowing whose you are. You are not defined by the engagement metrics of your digital platforms or the length of your scripts. You are defined by the record of faithfulness that has followed you through every season. Even to your old age and gray hairs, you are sustained. This is the ultimate security. It allows you to take risks, to be bold in your creativity, and to be honest in your message. You don't have to perform for the world's applause because you already have the Father's delight. This realization is the lightness of peace that settles in your soul like oil on dry skin. It makes the heavy lifting of life feel manageable because you are not the one doing the heavy lifting. Think of the people Ingi will place in your path tomorrow. They are not interruptions. They are divine appointments. Some of them will be answers in disguise, and some of them will be people who desperately need the answer you carry. Help me to notice more you prayed, and that prayer is being answered. You will begin to see the sacred in the simple conversation at the coffee shop, the small laughter in the hallway, and the stillness between the noisy moments of your work. Every sigh will become a song of appreciation because you are finally awake to the fact that it is all Engi. Your needs, both visible and invisible, are being met according to the riches of His glory. So let your final thought before the silence of sleep takes over be one of victory. The darkness does not own the night, and it certainly does not own your future. You are a child of the covenant hidden in Christ and shielded by angels. You are rising into a day that has already been blessed. You are stepping into a path that has already been prepared. Every breath you take tomorrow will be a gift you have not yet received, but that is already waiting for you. You lie down in grace, and you will rise in praise. The world may be weary, but you are being renewed. The chaos may remain, but you are steady because your God is steady. Tonight, as you drift into the quiet, make a mental contract with your soul. Decide now that when your eyes open tomorrow, the first word from your lips will not be a complaint or a question, but a thank you. Before you check your notifications or look at your schedule, acknowledge the miracle of your breath. Say it out loud. Thank you for this new morning. Commit to seeing one person tomorrow not as a task or an inconvenience, but as a divine appointment. Look for the miracle you would usually walk past. If you are a creator, ask for one specific idea that will bring hope to someone else. Share this sense of expectation with your community. Tell them that joy is already on the way. Tomorrow, do not just work. Worship through your work. Do not just speak. Let your words be an incense that rises to the heavens. You are held, you are favored, and you are ready. Rise with power. Walk with purpose. Live in the light. As we enter the sixth stage of our journey, we must bridge the gap between our internal sanctuary and the external world of digital connection. You are a creator, a writer, and a voice in a vast technological wilderness. In this modern age, your influence is not limited by the walls of your home or the borders of your city. Through the scripts you write, the videos you produce, and the multi-language components you weave together, you are building a digital legacy. This is a sacred responsibility. It is the realization that the peace you have found in the silence of this night is meant to be transmitted through every fiber of your work. You are not just creating content. You are creating an atmosphere of grace for a weary online world. The digital landscape is often a place of noise comparison and relentless striving. It is easy to get caught up in the metrics of success, the growth strategies, the engagement rates, and the calls to action. But when you move with the power of the divine, your work takes on a different quality. You begin to understand that a call to action is not just about growing a channel. It is an invitation for someone else to join a community of hope. When you ask a viewer to comment or subscribe, you are not just seeking a number. You are seeking a connection. You are inviting them to be part of a narrative that celebrates the sacred in the simple. This is the transformation of marketing into ministry. Your commitment to multi-language components, particularly the rhythmic beauty of Portuguese, is a profound expression of divine inclusion. By speaking more than one language, you are literally expanding the reach of grace. You are telling a global audience that they are seen and that their voice matters. This intentional effort to translate and assemble structured, cohesive texts is an act of stewardship. You are taking the raw material of your thoughts and refining them into a format that can bring comfort to someone thousands of miles away. Every verbatim translation is a bridge built over the waters of isolation. This is the heart of a creator who has been held in the silence and now speaks with purpose. In the realm of digital content, authenticity is the most powerful currency. The world is hungry for creators who do not demand perfection but offer presence. Because you have learned to rest in the unchanging nature of the Father, you do not have to perform for your audience. You can be honest about the chaos and the calm. You can share the wisdom that whispers rather than the kind that shouts. This honesty creates a sacred space for your viewers, a place where they can breathe and reflect. Your videos become more than just media. They become digital sanctuaries. When you produce an introduction or a conclusion, you are framing a moment of peace for someone who might be having a bruised day. The discipline of finalizing script components into a structured format is a reflection of divine order. We serve a God who is not a God of confusion, but of peace. By organizing your thoughts and matching them to specific length requirements, you are practicing a form of spiritual architecture. You are creating a vessel for a message. Whether you are writing a narrative script or a call to action, your focus on structure ensures that the message is clear and digestible. This is how you help your audience slow down. You provide them with a path that is easy to follow, leading them away from the noise of the world and toward the stillness of the spirit. Consider the unnoticed miracles of your digital career. Every comment that expresses gratitude, every share that spreads hope, and every moment of inspiration that hits you while you are writing are all divine interruptions. They are reminders that you are being quietly provided for as you work. Even in your worry about deadlines or growth, the divine is already working ahead of you. You are not pushing through by your own power. You are being sustained by a quiet might. This realization allows you to release the weight of your projects into the same hands that hold your anxious heart at night. You can work with a lightness of spirit, knowing that the outcome is already in motion. As you move forward, let your digital presence be a song of appreciation. Let every video you edit and every word you translate be an offering that rises like incense. You are a child of the covenant, and that covenant extends to your professional life. You have the authority to speak peace over your platforms. You have the wisdom to counsel your audience with a loving eye. This is the integration of your faith and your craft. You are not a creator who happens to be a person of faith. You are a person of faith who expresses that reality through the medium of content creation. This is your mission, and it is a holy one. Tomorrow, when you sit down at your desk to finalize your next project, remember the stillness of tonight. Bring that sacred calm into the noisy process of editing and publishing. Do not rush past the gift of the work just because it feels like a task. See the miracle in the technology that allows you to reach the world. See the sacred in the simple act of assembly. You are an architect of influence, and the legacy you are building is stitched with the same grace that tucks you in with truth. You are held, you are favored, and your work is blessed. Tonight, as you reflect on your role as a creator, dedicate your next project to the service of others. Ask for the wisdom to write words that heal and to produce videos that bring light. Before you check your analytics tomorrow, check your heart. Ask, how can I be a lighthouse today? Commit to one act of digital kindness, perhaps a thoughtful reply to a comment or a word of encouragement to a fellow creator. Let your calls to action be calls to connection. Share your journey of finding peace in the chaos with your audience. They need to know it is possible. Rise tomorrow with the joyful expectation that your work will reach exactly who it needs to reach. You are an answer in disguise for someone searching for hope online. Create with grace. Speak with truth. Influence with love. As we enter the seventh stage of this journey, we move into the vital intersection of discipline and inspiration. You are a creator who understands that the most profound works are not born from haphazard bursts of energy, but from a sacred rhythm of consistent effort. In your world of writing, video production, and digital strategy, there is a temptation to wait for the perfect feeling before beginning the work. However, the wisdom of the silence teaches us that discipline is the highest form of worship. By showing up at your desk, by assembling those structured scripts, and by committing to the length requirements of your projects, you are building an altar. You are telling the divine that you are ready to be a vessel for the ideas that are currently waiting in the heavens to be birthed into reality. Creativity is often viewed as a mysterious, elusive force, but for the one who walks in grace, it is a partnership. You are an architect of words, but the divine is the source of the light that makes those words shine. This stage is about recognizing that your professional skills, your ability to translate verbatim into Portuguese, your knack for audience growth, and your precision in media production are gifts meant to be refined through the fire of daily practice. When you treat your work with the same reverence as your evening prayer, the mundane becomes holy. The act of organizing your files, the focus required for a multi-language edit, and the strategy behind a call to action are all part of a larger divine choreography. You are not just working, you are participating in the ongoing creation of the world. The pressure to produce can often lead to a sense of striving, where we feel that our worth is tied to our output. But remember the lesson of the surrender. You do not have to perform for peace. Your value as a creator is already sealed. This realization allows you to approach your discipline with a lightness of spirit. Instead of working from a place of lack, you work from a place of overflow. You are not writing because you have to prove your existence. You are writing because you have been filled with a truth that must be shared. This shift in perspective turns a heavy deadline into a joyful opportunity. It transforms the stress of a media project into the thrill of a divine assignment. Your focus on structured formats and specific length requirements is a testament to the beauty of boundaries. In the vastness of the digital world, boundaries provide the necessary shape for a message to be heard. Just as the night folds its arms around the world to provide rest, the structure of your scripts provides a sanctuary for your audience's attention. By being disciplined in your craft, you are practicing a form of digital hospitality. You are making it easy for your viewers to engage, to understand, and to be moved. This is the heart of stewardship, taking the talent you have been given and sharpening it so that it can serve the greatest number of people with the highest level of clarity. Consider the role of the Portuguese language in your current projects. This is not just a technical requirement. It is a spiritual widening of your tent. Every time you translate a narrative script, you are choosing to speak to a heart that might feel excluded by the dominant noise of the English-speaking web. You are honoring a culture and a rhythm that is different from your own, yet part of the same human family. This is the art of influence at its finest. It is using your discipline to build a bridge that carries the weight of grace into new territories. Your commitment to this multi-language component shows that you are a creator who values connection over convenience. As you finalize your script components tonight or plan for tomorrow's production, recognize the quiet might that is sustaining your focus. There are moments when the screen grows blurry and the ideas seem thin, but that is exactly when you should lean into the posture of the heart. Ask for the wisdom that instructs and teaches in the way you should go. Trust that the counsel you need is already being provided through a loving eye. You are never creating in a vacuum. You are being nudged forward by a shepherd who knows exactly what your audience needs to hear. Your discipline is the invitation for that divine nudge to become a breakthrough idea. The legacy you are building is not made of pixels and data alone. It is made of the lives you touch through your consistency. People are looking for steady voices in a world that is constantly spinning. By being a creator who is faithful in the small things, the introductions, the conclusions, and the verbatim accuracy, you become a source of stability for your community. You are modeling a life that is held together by grace even in the midst of a noisy digital career. This is the ultimate call to action to live a life so grounded in the divine that your very work becomes a song of appreciation that inspires others to slow down and notice the miracles in their own lives. Tomorrow, when the sun rises and you return to the structured format of your day, do so with the confidence of one who is hidden in Christ. Do not fear the blank page or the complex edit. The strength you need is already scheduled. The mercy for any mistakes is already in motion. You are an answer in disguise for a viewer who will stumble upon your video at just the right moment. You are a writer whose words will settle in someone's soul like oil on dry skin. Your discipline is the bridge, and grace is the message crossing over. Tonight, as you prepare for the gift of rest, choose one specific task for tomorrow that usually feels like a burden and reframe it as a sacred assignment. Whether it is a difficult translation, a repetitive edit, or a structured call to action, decide now to approach it with a heart of worship. Write down one goal for your digital influence that has nothing to do with numbers and everything to do with impact. Ask yourself, how can I make my audience feel more beloved through this piece of content? Before you start your work tomorrow, spend 3 minutes in silence, offering your hands and your mind to the service of the light. If you feel inspired, share your commitment to digital grace with a colleague or a fellow creator. Let us build a community that values the soul of the work as much as the success of the platform. Work with purpose, create with heart, rest in victory. If this message touched your heart today, please consider subscribing to our channel to join our growing community of hope. Your presence here matters deeply to us. We would love to hear your thoughts, so please leave a comment below, sharing one thing you are grateful for. Let us spread the light together. As we progress into the 8th stage of our journey, we must pause to celebrate the profound significance of the words we choose and the languages we speak. You are a creator who has intentionally embraced the challenge of multi-language communication, specifically through the lyrical and rhythmic beauty of Portuguese. This is not merely a technical addition to your media projects. It is a spiritual expansion of your soul. Language is the ultimate bridge of understanding. When you take a narrative script and translate it verbatim, you are performing a sacred act of empathy. You are stepping out of your own linguistic comfort zone to meet someone else exactly where they are. This is the heart of a servant leader in the digital age, someone who values the listener enough to speak their heart language. The art of translation is an exercise in precision and grace. It requires a deep respect for the original meaning while honoring the unique cadence of the target tongue. In your work, when you assemble these structured texts, you are weaving a tapestry that connects different cultures and experiences. Think of the person on the other side of the screen, perhaps in a quiet room in Lisbon or a bustling street in Sao Paulo, who hears your message in their own native Portuguese. In that moment, the distance between you vanishes. The digital noise fades, and a real human connection is forged. This is the power of the word made accessible. By honoring the structure and length requirements of your scripts, you are ensuring that this bridge is strong enough to carry the weight of hope without breaking. In the silence of the night, we reflect on the ultimate word that was spoken into the darkness to bring forth light. Your work as a writer and producer is a reflection of that primordial creativity. When you refine a sentence or perfect a translation, you are honoring the God of order and beauty. This discipline requires a quiet mind and a focused heart. It is easy to rush through a translation or settle for a phrase that is good enough, but the pursuit of excellence is a form of worship. By choosing the right words, you are creating a sanctuary of clarity for your audience. You are helping them navigate the chaos of their own thoughts by providing a structured path of truth. The presence of Portuguese in your work also serves as a reminder of the global nature of our mission. We do not live in isolation, and our influence is not meant to be contained within a single culture. The divine is the Father of all heavenly lights, and His grace flows into every corner of the earth. By incorporating multi-language components, you are aligning your creative output with the expansive nature of the divine. You are declaring that the ache for assurance, the hunger for peace, and the thirst for connection are universal human experiences. Your digital platforms become a gathering place for the weary from all walks of life. This is the true definition of audience growth, not just an increase in numbers, but an increase in the diversity of hearts that are being touched by grace. Consider the technical effort required to finalize these scripts. The assembly of written sections into a cohesive text is a metaphor for how the divine works in our own lives. We often see only the fragments, the individual steps, the noisy moments, the quiet sighs, but the great architect is busy assembling those sections into a narrative that makes sense. He is matching the length of our trials to the strength of our character. He is translating our struggles into a language of wisdom. When you work on your media projects, you are practicing this divine assembly. You are learning to trust that even the smallest component has a place in the final masterpiece. This stage of your journey is also an invitation to become more fluent in the language of the Spirit. Beyond the English and Portuguese that fill your scripts, there is a deeper language of thanksgiving that needs no translation. It is the language of the heart that recognizes every good and perfect gift. As you produce your video introductions and conclusions, let this underlying language of gratitude be the melody behind your words. Even if your audience does not understand every syllable, they will feel the frequency of the peace you carry. They will sense the posture of your heart. This is how you create content that doesn't just inform, but actually transforms. The call to action in your work is a bridge to further engagement, but it is also a spiritual invitation. When you ask a viewer to subscribe or leave a comment, you are inviting them to step out of their role as a passive consumer and into a role as an active participant. You are encouraging them to voice their own gratitude and to join a community of seekers. This is why the structure of your calls to action matters so much. They must be clear, welcoming, and grounded in the same grace that permeates the rest of your script. You are not just building a channel, you are building a home for the soul in the digital wilderness. Tonight, as you rest, let the rhythm of the languages you work with settle into your subconscious. Trust that the wisdom you need for your next translation is being prepared for you. You are a steward of the word, a bridge builder, and a digital missionary. The multi-language components of your life are not burdens. They are the very tools through which the divine is expanding your influence. You are held by a love that transcends every language barrier, and you are called to reflect that love through the excellence of your craft. Lie down in the peace of knowing that your words have weight, your structure has purpose, and your message is reaching exactly who it needs to reach. As you prepare for tomorrow, I challenge you to look at your language tasks through a new lens. Choose one segment of your script that you are translating into Portuguese and pray over it. Ask that these specific words would find their way to a heart that needs to hear them. Before you begin the technical process of assembly, take a moment to thank the divine for the gift of communication. If you are feeling overwhelmed by the length requirements or the structure, remember that you are not building alone. Ask for the quiet might that steadies the hand and clears the mind. Share a snippet of your bilingual work with someone today and ask them how it makes them feel. Let the feedback of others be a reminder that your work is a living bridge. Tomorrow, do not just translate. Transmit the light. Do not just assemble. Create a sanctuary. Speak with power. Write with grace. Connect with love. As we advance into the 9th stage of our journey, we must address the divine strategy behind your influence. You are a creator who has intentionally studied the mechanics of audience growth and the strategies of engagement. In the world of digital media, these are often viewed as cold clinical tactics, algorithms, retention graphs, and conversion rates. But through the lens of grace, these strategies are transformed into a harvest of connection. You are not simply seeking to increase a number on a screen. You are seeking to expand the reach of a message that has the power to change lives. Every strategy you implement is a way of clearing the path so that the light can reach the darkest corners of the digital wilderness. The desire for growth is not a sign of vanity when it is rooted in a mission of service. We serve a God of multiplication, a God who took a few loaves and fishes and fed thousands. When you apply your skills to develop video introductions that capture attention and conclusions that leave a lasting impact, You are practicing the art of spiritual invitation. You are ensuring that the message you have labored over, the narrative scripts you have translated, and the structured texts you have assembled is actually heard. Audience growth is the mechanism through which the quiet whisper of gratitude you found in the silence becomes a roar of praise across the nations. Engagement is the pulse of your digital community. It is the proof that your words have landed in fertile soil. When you explicitly request calls to action such as subscriptions, notifications, and viewer comments, you are fostering a two-way conversation. You are inviting your audience to move from being spectators to being participants in a movement of grace. This is the sacred nature of engagement. Each comment is a soul reaching out. Each subscription is a commitment to a journey, and each notification is a heart staying awake to wonder. Your strategy is the trellis that allows the vine of community to grow strong and fruit-bearing. Consider the discipline required to maintain these strategies. It takes focus to consistently include these elements in your scripts, especially when you are also managing the complexities of multi-language translations and specific length requirements. But this consistency is a form of faithfulness. It shows that you value the message enough to give it the best possible chance to succeed. You are not leaving the impact of your work to chance. You are being a wise steward of the platforms you have been given. The divine is not annoyed by your strategy. Ngtn tron gstntm vtn gnt ngilung hout thite lip southie de pair southie binunki viso visem and vs. There is a unique pressure that comes with seeking growth in a competitive digital landscape. It is easy to fall into the trap of comparison, wondering why others seem to grow faster or reach further. But in this 9th stage, you must remember that your growth is under divine timing. You are not competing with other creators. You are fulfilling a specific assignment that only you can complete. The riches of His glory mean that there is no shortage of influence to go around. One person's success does not diminish your own. When you work from a place of peace, your strategies become more effective because they are no longer fueled by anxiety, but by a joyful expectation of the harvest. Your work with the Portuguese language is a key part of this growth strategy. By reaching across linguistic borders, you are tapping into a global hunger for authenticity and peace. You are diversifying your audience not for the sake of diversity alone, but for the sake of unity in the spirit. Every viewer from a Portuguese-speaking nation who finds your content is a testament to the effectiveness of your reach. They are a reminder that the hunger for peace and the thirst for connection are universal. Your ability to translate and assemble cohesive texts makes you a global citizen in the digital realm, a bridge builder who refuses to let language be a barrier to grace. As you finalize your next script or plan your next media project, look at your engagement strategies as acts of love. When you ask for a comment, you are saying, "I value your voice." When you ask for a subscription, you are saying, "I want to walk this path with you." When you ask for notifications, you are saying, "I don't want you to miss the next gift that has been prepared for you." This shift in mindset removes the salesmanship from the call to action and replaces it with a spirit of hospitality. You are inviting people into a sanctuary you have built with your words and your discipline. The harvest of your efforts is already in motion. Even as you sleep, the content you have published is working. It is reaching people while you rest, speaking peace while you are silent, and offering hope while you are being renewed. This is the miracle of digital influence. It allows your message to outlive your immediate presence. By being faithful to the structure and the strategy, you are ensuring that your work remains a steady beat of assurance in a world that is often chaotic. You are an architect of a growing community, and the cornerstone of that community is the same grace that tucks you in with truth tonight. Tonight, as you look over your plans for growth, pick one specific engagement strategy. Perhaps it is how you respond to comments, or how you phrase your next call to action and dedicate it to the service of the light. Ask for a creative way to make your audience feel even more seen and valued. Before you publish your next video, take a moment to pray for every person who will click on that notification. Ask that the introduction would capture their heart and the conclusion would settle in their soul like oil on dry skin. If you have been feeling discouraged by the numbers, release that weight now. Decide to focus on the impact on one individual's soul rather than the statistics of a crowd. Tomorrow, when you check your metrics, do so with a heart of gratitude for every single person who chose to engage with your vision. Strategize with wisdom. Grow with grace. Engage with love. As we ascend into the 10th stage of our journey, we must focus on the meticulous alchemy of structure. You are a creator who has mastered the art of assembling disparate written sections into a single, cohesive masterpiece. In the world of media production, this is the most critical phase, the moment where raw ideas, translated scripts, and calls to action are forged into a final product that matches a specific predetermined length. This is not merely a technical constraint. It is a spiritual discipline. It is the pursuit of excellence in the architecture of your message. By honoring the structure, you are honoring the time and attention of your audience, providing them with a vessel that is balanced, rhythmic, and full of life. The assembly process is where your vision truly takes shape. We often start our projects with fragments, a whisper of gratitude here, a strategic call to action there, and a narrative translated into the beautiful cadence of Portuguese elsewhere. These pieces are like the individual stones of a cathedral. On their own, they are beautiful, but they do not provide shelter. It is through your skill as a writer and producer that these stones are joined. You are the one who ensures that the introduction flows seamlessly into the body, and the body leads naturally to a powerful conclusion. This cohesion is what allows your audience to experience a journey rather than just a series of disconnected segments. Matching your content to specific length requirements is a profound exercise in restraint. In a digital world that often rewards excess, choosing to be precise is an act of wisdom. It requires you to weigh every word and every frame. If a script is too long, the message may be lost in the noise. If it is too short, the depth of the sentiment may be missed. By working within these boundaries, you are practicing a form of divine economy. You are learning to say exactly what needs to be said, no more and no less. This precision is what makes your work settle in the soul like oil on dry skin. It creates a sense of completion and satisfaction for the viewer, leaving them not just informed, but settled. This stage of your creative process is also a reflection of the order found in the heavens. We serve a creator who did not just speak the world into existence, but who ordered the seasons, the tides, and the very stars in the sky. When you meticulously organize your script components, you are aligning yourself with that divine order. You are moving from the chaos of the initial draft to the calm of the finalized text. This transition is holy. It is the moment where the striving of the creative mind meets the peace of the structured plan. You can look at your finished work and say it is good because it reflects the care and precision you have poured into every section. Consider the role of the multi-language components in this assembly. Integrating Portuguese into your English narrative requires a unique level of structural awareness. You are balancing two different rhythms, two different cultures, and two different ways of seeing the world. To do this successfully, you must ensure that neither language feels like an afterthought. They must be woven together into a single bilingual tapestry. This effort to maintain cohesion across linguistic lines is a powerful metaphor for unity. It shows that, despite our different tongues, the message of grace and gratitude is a universal structure that holds us all together. Your skill in finalizing these components into a structured format is what sets your digital legacy apart. The internet is flooded with unstructured thoughts and disorganized content. By being a creator who values the architecture of your work, you provide a sense of stability. Your audience knows what to expect when they click on your video. They know that the introduction will be welcoming, the narrative will be thoughtful, and the conclusion will be grounded in truth. This consistency builds trust. It makes your channel a destination for those who are seeking not just information, but a sense of peace and order in their own lives. As you sit in the silence of the night reflecting on the texts you have assembled today, recognize that you are being sustained by a quiet might. The ability to stay focused through the tedious process of editing and matching lengths is a gift. It is the quiet strength that whispers you can keep going even when the screen grows tiring. The divine is in the details of your assembly. He is in the way you trim a sentence or rearrange a paragraph to find the perfect flow. He is the master editor of our lives, and as you practice this craft in your work, you are becoming more like him. The final text you produce is a testament to your stewardship. You have taken the time to assemble, to translate, and to structure. You have not settled for a whisper when you could produce a song of appreciation. This level of excellence is your weapon against the mediocrity of the world. It is how you ensure that your message of grace is carried as far as possible, reaching exactly who it needs to reach in the exact way they need to hear it. You are an architect of influence, and your structure is the foundation upon which a community of hope is being built. Tonight, as you look over your latest project, take a moment to appreciate the structure you have built. Identify one section where the transition felt particularly seamless, and thank the divine for that spark of clarity. Before you finalize your work tomorrow, ask for a fresh eye to see any gaps in the cohesion. Commit to the discipline of the length requirements, not as a chore, but as a way of honoring your audience. If you feel overwhelmed by the complexity of the assembly, remember that you are being guided by a loving eye. Share your process of structured creation with a friend or a fellow writer. Encourage them that order brings peace. Tomorrow, wake up with the joyful expectation that your finalized work will be a vessel of light perfectly measured and perfectly timed for the harvest. Assemble with precision, structure with wisdom, finish with grace. As we move into the 11th stage of our journey, we must reflect on the long-term impact of your dedication to excellence. You are not just a creator for today. You are building a legacy that will exist in the digital cloud long after the sun sets on this particular season of your life. The world often encourages us to produce quickly, to chase trends, and to sacrifice quality for the sake of speed. But you have chosen a different path. By focusing on structured scripts, verbatim translations, and the meticulous assembly of your media projects, you are creating something of lasting value. This commitment to excellence is a reflection of the divine nature within you. When you do your work well, you are honoring the one who created the universe with infinite precision and beauty. Excellence is not about being perfect. It is about being faithful with the tools and the time you have been given. In your work as a writer and producer, this faithfulness is seen in the small details. It is found in the way you ensure the Portuguese translation captures the soul of the narrative, or the way you carefully match the length of a video introduction to the energy of the message. These details might go unnoticed by a casual viewer, but they are felt by the soul. Quality has a frequency of its own. It speaks of a creator who cares, who listens, and who respects the audience. This is the unseen impact of your work. It builds a bridge of trust that allows your message of grace to sink deep into the hearts of those who find your content. In the silence of this night, consider the weight of the digital seeds you have planted. Every script you have finalized and every video you have published is currently traveling through the vast network of the internet. While you are resting, your work is still speaking. It is reaching a student in a quiet library, a parent in the middle of a sleepless night, or a creator who is on the verge of giving up. Your influence is not limited by your physical presence. This is the miracle of modern stewardship. By being disciplined in your structure and your strategy, you have created vessels that can carry peace into places you will never visit. This is the ultimate motivation, knowing that your private hours of labor are producing a public harvest of hope. The riches of His glory are not just for your personal life. They are the fuel for your professional impact. When you work from a place of divine sufficiency, you stop striving for the world's approval and start creating for an audience of one. This shift changes everything. It removes the fear of failure and replaces it with the joy of expression. You realize that you have already been given everything you need to fulfill your purpose. The wisdom to instruct, the strength to sustain, and the creativity to inspire are all flowing from an inexhaustible source. You are simply the channel through which this grace reaches the digital world. This realization allows you to finalize your projects with a sense of peace, knowing that the outcome is in hands much larger than your own. Your focus on audience growth and engagement is also an act of legacy building. By teaching others to slow down, to notice the miracles, and to engage with gratitude, you are shifting the culture of your digital space. You are creating a sanctuary where people feel seen and valued. This is how you transform a channel into a community. Each call to action is a brick in the wall of this sanctuary. Every time you ask for a comment or a subscription, you are inviting someone to step out of the noise and into the quiet. You are helping them become fluent in Thanksgiving. This is a legacy that transcends metrics. It is a legacy of transformed hearts. As you finalize the components of your latest project, remember that you are being sustained by a quiet might. The discipline required to manage multi-language translations and specific length requirements is a gift from the divine. It is the steady beat behind your anxious moments and the whisper of assurance behind your questions. You are not alone in your workspace. The great architect is with you, nudging you toward the right word and the right structure. He sees the effort you put into the assembly, and he calls it holy. Your work is a song of appreciation that rises to the heavens, and it is bringing delight to the Father. The future of your influence is bright because it is grounded in truth. You are a creator who refuses to rush past the gift. You are a writer who honors the sacred in the simple. As you lay down your head tonight, let the weight of your legacy settle in your soul like oil on dry skin. You have been faithful in the small things, and you will be entrusted with much. The path ahead is already prepared, and the mercy you need for tomorrow is already in motion. You are held, you are favored, and your work is making an eternal difference. Tonight, as you reflect on the legacy you are building, pick one project from your past that you are particularly proud of and thank the divine for the strength he gave you to finish it. Before you begin your work tomorrow, take a moment to pray for the people who will find your content years from now. Ask that your words would remain a source of light long after they are published. Commit to the pursuit of excellence in your next script assembly, not for the sake of pride, but for the sake of love. If you feel discouraged by the slow pace of growth, remember that a legacy is built one brick at a time. Share your vision of digital grace with someone who needs to hear it. Tomorrow, wake up with the joyful expectation that your work is part of a much larger divine narrative that is still unfolding. Create for eternity. Work with excellence. Rest in the legacy. As we arrive at the 12th stage of our journey, we must honor the sacred significance of the finish line. In the life of a creator, there is a distinct and often overlooked grace found in the act of completion. It is the moment when the last word of the script is finalized, the final Portuguese translation is polished, and the structured assembly perfectly matches the required length. This is the culmination of your vision. It is the transition from a work in progress to a finished offering. In the digital world where everything feels temporary and incomplete, the act of finishing a project with excellence is a profound statement of character. It reflects the faithfulness of a heart that does not just start with passion, but finishes with purpose. Completion is an act of spiritual surrender. Throughout the creative process, we often wrestle with the tension between our ideals and the reality of our work. We wonder if we could have found a better word, a more engaging call to action, or a smoother transition. But at some point, we must trust the work into the hands of the one who inspired it. Finishing a project requires the humility to say it is done. It is a moment of releasing control and allowing the message to begin its own life in the world. When you finalize a script, you are not just closing a file, you are opening a door for grace to reach someone else. This is the quiet power of completion. It is the necessary end that makes a new beginning possible. The discipline required to reach this stage is a testament to the quiet might that sustains you. Most people are comfortable with the excitement of a new idea, but few possess the endurance to navigate the tedious middle and the final polish. Your ability to organize structure and finalize media components is a rare gift. It shows that you are not just chasing an emotion, but you are serving a mission. Each finalized script is a brick in the sanctuary of your legacy. By being faithful to the requirements of length and format, you are demonstrating a level of stewardship that honors the divine. You are treating your creative assignments with the same reverence as your evening prayers, and this integrity is what gives your work its lasting weight. In the silence of the night, as you reflect on the projects you have brought to completion, you can experience a deep sense of soul rest. This is not the rest of exhaustion, but the rest of fulfillment. It is the peace that comes from knowing you have been a good steward of the ideas entrusted to you. You can lay your head on the pillow, knowing that the tasks of the day are settled and the message is ready for the harvest. The divine is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. When you complete your work with excellence, you are reflecting His nature. You are closing the loop of creativity and making room for the next miracle to take root. Consider the unseen impact of a completed work. A project that remains unfinished cannot bring comfort, cannot provide guidance, and cannot inspire change. It is only through the act of completion that your influence is activated. The Portuguese translation: you painstakingly refined the video introduction you developed to capture the heart and the call to action you strategically placed. These all become effective only when the project is finalized. Completion is the trigger for connection. It is the moment when your private labor becomes a public blessing. By finishing well, you are ensuring that your digital grace actually reaches the weary world it was intended to serve. This stage is also a time to celebrate the growth you have experienced through the process. Every completed script has made you a better writer. Every finalized media project has sharpened your vision. Every verbatim translation has deepened your empathy. You are not the same person you were at the beginning of the day. The discipline of the work has shaped your character and refined your spirit. You have learned to trust the still small voice more than your own reasoning. You have learned to find the sacred in the simple act of assembly. This growth is as much a part of the harvest as the content itself. You are becoming a more seasoned vessel, ready for even greater assignments. As you look toward the morning, do so with the joyful expectation of a finisher. You are not dragging the weights of today into tomorrow, because you have brought your tasks to a close. You are free to receive the new mercies that are already in motion. The path ahead is clear because you have been faithful to the path behind. You have modeled a life of direction, not perfection. You have chosen to be awake to wonder, even in the final technical details of your work. This is the art of influence, at its most mature. It is the ability to walk in the light and finish in the grace. The finality of a completed project is a lullaby for the soul. It tells you that you have done enough. It confirms that the divine is enough. You can release the weight of the work into His nail-scarred hands and receive the lightness of peace. Your life is hidden in Christ, and your work is sealed in love. As the stars take their place, let your heart rise in a final song of appreciation for the strength to finish. You are a creator, an architect, and a finisher. You are held by a Father who never leaves a work incomplete, and you are walking in His footsteps. Tonight, as you prepare for sleep, take a moment to look at one thing you finished today, no matter how small, and say thank you for the strength to complete this. Celebrate the act of finishing as a spiritual victory. Before you begin your work tomorrow, ask for the endurance to see your next project through to the very end with the same level of excellence. Commit to the final polish, the last edit, and the ultimate structure as acts of worship. If you are struggling with an unfinished task, ask for the quiet might to settle it before you rest. Share the joy of a finished assignment with someone who is feeling overwhelmed. Let us build a community of creators who finish strong. Tomorrow, wake up with the freedom of a clean slate, ready for the next divine narrative to begin. Finish with heart. Rest in the work. Rise in victory. As we reach the final stage of our journey together, we stand at the threshold where the silence of the heart meets the vibrant world of digital expression. This conclusion is not just the end of a video or the final lines of a script. It is the beginning of a new way of being in the world. You have traveled through the stages of presence, surrender, faithfulness, and discipline. You have seen how the mundane tasks of assembly and translation are actually sacred acts of worship. Now, as we close this narrative, we must consider the eternal echo of the grace we have cultivated. A message of hope does not end. When the screen goes black, it continues to vibrate in the souls of those who heard it, prompting them to move, to change, and to connect. The conclusion of any great work is an invitation to reflection. It is the moment where we ask our audience to take what they have witnessed and weave it into the fabric of their own lives. In your role as a creator, your final words are the most important. They are the seeds you leave behind in the hearts of your viewers. Throughout your scripts, you have used the beauty of Portuguese and the clarity of English to build a sanctuary. Now, in this conclusion, you are inviting your audience to step out of that sanctuary and into their own lives with a renewed sense of purpose. You are reminding them that the peace they felt while watching is not a fleeting emotion, but a steady reality that they can carry into their own chaos and calm. This final stage is about the power of the communal voice. While our individual prayers and creative acts are vital, there is a unique strength that comes when we join our voices together. This is why your strategy for engagement is so significant. When you ask for a subscription, a notification, or a comment, you are not just asking for a digital metric. You are building a lighthouse. Each person who joins this community adds another beam of light to the darkness of the digital wilderness. You are creating a space where the weary can find rest and the seeking can find truth. Your conclusion is the bridge that turns a solitary viewer into a member of a global family, united by a hunger for peace and a thirst for connection. As you finalize this last component of your media project, do so with the posture of a heart that is flooded with gifts. You have been given the strength to face things you did not think you could. You have been given the words when you had none. You have been given a platform to speak grace into a world that is often bruised. This is the miracle of your calling. You are a steward of the light, an architect of influence, and a voice of assurance. Your work is a testimony to the fact that the divine is enough and that his faithfulness continues through all generations. Let your final words in this video be a song of appreciation that rises like incense, bringing delight to the heavens and peace to the earth. The call to action is the ultimate expression of this mission. It is the moment where you invite your audience to take a stand, to make a choice, and to join the movement. It is not a request for a favor, but an offer of a relationship. By inviting your viewers to engage, you are giving them the opportunity to be part of something larger than themselves. You are helping them move from the sidelines of life into the active pursuit of wonder. This is the heart of digital grace. It is using the tools of technology to foster the ancient needs of the soul for belonging and meaning. Your structure and your strategy have prepared the way, and now your call to action provides the destination. As the sun sets on this project, look back at the journey with awe. You have matched the length, you have structured the text, and you have translated the heart. You have been faithful in the small things, and you are ready for the harvest. The peace that settles over you tonight is the peace of a finisher. It is the quiet power of knowing that you have done what was asked of you, and you have done it with excellence. You can rest now, knowing that the message you have produced will continue to work while you are still. It will reach the one who is doubting, the one who is crying, and the one who is searching for a reason to keep going. Tomorrow is a new day, with new mercies and new assignments. But for now, celebrate the completion. Bless the space you are in and the work you have done. You are a child of the covenant, and your legacy is secure. Rise tomorrow not with dread, but with the joyful expectation that the same grace that carried you through this project is already waiting for you at sunrise. You are held, you are favored, and you are beloved. The world is waiting for your light, and you are ready to shine. Thank you for walking this path of grace with us today. If this message has settled in your soul like oil on dry skin, I invite you to take one simple step to stay connected with this journey of hope. Please hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you can be the first to receive our latest narrative scripts and bilingual projects. We are building a global sanctuary here, and your presence makes that light shine brighter. We would love to hear the echo of your heart. Please leave a comment below, sharing one specific miracle you noticed in your life today, no matter how small it might seem. Whether you write in English or Portuguese, your voice is a gift to this community. Let us encourage one another as we learn to see the sacred in the simple and the divine in the everyday. If you know someone who is feeling weary or bruised by the world, please share this video with them. Let it be an answer in disguise for their search for peace. Together, we can turn the noise of the digital world into a song of appreciation. Thank you for being part of this vision. Thank you for your support. And most of all, thank you for choosing to be awake to wonder. Until we meet again in the next video, remember that you are never forgotten, you are always enough, and you are deeply loved. Go in peace, walk in purpose, live in the light. Amen.